How true is it that in the US you can become a millionaire in 10 years? This is a popular idea in Latin America. Many people live in multi-generational homes. If in USA you stay living with your parents for 10 years and you get a 150K job, assuming you studied STEM or an in-demand trade, you save up everything and in a decade you will be a millionaire. And so will your siblings if they do something similar. Man, so many goddamned upvotes to give in this chain. Be moderately smart with spending. Only buy what you need or would fully enjoy. Don't compete with your neighbors on getting nicer stuff. Quadruple check all contracts before signing. Invest any extra money in safe investments that are on the 10-plus year scale. Then almost forget about it. Eat nice meals out, but cook at home much more often. Don't drink or do drugs. Not out of moral purity, but that shit always ends up expensive. Or at least be really good at moderation. Fly coach, get nice hotels. I regrettably guess I'm middle-aged now. I'm not rich, but I've done the math and I'll never actually need more money for the rest of my or my wife's life, at least as long as I work till normal retirement age. Or need transportation to get to the 150K imaginary job. Car payment, insurance, property taxes, stickers and plates and license. And whose parents going to let you live at home for free, eat their food, use their electric while making more than they do? No American parents I know, or get sick or trust fund. Or kids, what's that? Or children, if you have no bills and pay no taxes. You can easily become a millionaire in 10 years on a salary of $100K. And if you don't eat, I heard Walmart's doing a special that anyone who can outrun security gets their whole shopping cart of groceries for free. I'm going. With compound interest being a thing, you can afford to spend some. Say you pay $20K in taxes and live on another $20K, so you save $60K a year. You invest all of that $60K into stocks and get a 10% return each year. At the end of the first year, you have $60K, and you haven't had time to invest it yet. Year 2, 60. 1 plus 60, 8 is 126. Year 3, 126. 1 plus 60, 192.6. Year 3, 192.6. 1 plus 60, 8, 271, 86. Year 4, 8, 271, 9. 1 plus 60, 83591. Year 5, 83591. 1 plus 60, 8455. Year 6, 8455. 1 plus 60, 8565. Year 7, 9565. 1 plus 60, 86766. Year 8, 86766. 1 plus 60, 8043. Year 9, 8043. 1 plus 60, 8944. Year 10, 8947. 1 plus 60 at 199. Sure, you still have to live fairly frugally to spend $20K a year at most on all expenses, but it's definitely possible. I think taxes in reality might be a little higher than 20%, especially if you live somewhere with state income tax. But on the other hand, you can start investing your paycheck before the end of the year. So those two assumptions probably balance out. And they make my math a lot easier. Fairly frugally is an understatement. You'd have to live very frugally. $20K a year is $1,667 a month. You'd have to live with roommates and hope rent doesn't go up that much each year. You'd have to eat cheap food and never go out to eat. Best bet would be not to have a car so you don't have car insurance bill. Have to get cheap phone plan to keep that low. Definitely don't pay for streaming services. Maybe go to a gym. It would have to be a cheap one. If you drink, you'd want to stop doing that and stop going out. Don't get me started on dates. Unless you find someone who is doing the same thing as you, you're not taking someone out anytime soon. I mean, yes, it's technically possible, but at the cost of living your life. This whole thread is assuming you live with your parents and they don't charge rent. If you have to pay rent, this becomes borderline impossible. I agree, but ignore that for now. Car insurance is about $1,000 a year, getting cheaper over time. You still have $19K to live on. None of that going to housing or utilities, and you can eat some meals at home for free. That's not a ton, but that's enough that you can pick a few things you like doing and spend a reasonable amount on them. Oh, if we're assuming you live at home, it's a lot more doable. But the main drawback there is that you still live at home for 10 years. Assuming you graduated on time and got a good job, you're 22, maybe 23 when you graduate. So that would be 32 33rds when you're free. Doable, but man, your 20s is the best time to make mistakes and figure things out. Also, car insurance isn't the only cost to car. Gas and repairs over those 10 years adds up. To truly make it work, I think you have to go carless. Cars are expensive, but they're not that expensive. Even including maintenance and gas, unless you drive a used BMW, I guess. I also think this is more useful as a thought experiment to demonstrate how helpful compound interest is and how useful saving is than an actual plan to become a millionaire in 10 years by following these steps. After all, very few people start out making $100K right away. And the ones that do are making well over 100K after 10 years. So this isn't even close to a realistic model of earnings. Better hope you don't die in year 11. Thanks for doing the math, though. I see your point. It would really suck to live like that. Like it technically works, but it's such a miserable existence. Why do it? Totally agree. And what if you have kids, etc.? How are you getting to work? And what are you wearing? And the most ignored common sense thing missing from this thread, 100,000 is 70,000 after taxes. And I guess you aren't signing up for health insurance? Don't get sick. And if you can get one of those STEM jobs. That's harder and harder no matter what your education. Or need to eat food, no bills, and you can manage it without going insane. Or making whoever you are mooching off of not kill you in your sleep. If you're putting 60K a year into the market and getting an 8% return, then you'll be a millionaire in 10 years. If you're making 100K, you'd be living all right on 40K a year, although not so much in a HC all area. It is dependent on the market getting or beating 8% annually over 10 years. Unfortunately, if you want a job that makes 100K a year out of college, you're going to need to go to a HCOL area. Ain't no college grads making more than 50K in Idaho possible, but difficult. Most people do not want to live with their parents for that long if they don't have to. STEM is starting to become a much more crowded field, and, like the trades, not everyone is cut out for it. I have a friend that wouldn't have been able to live with family. They spent all the money in the college fund to try and start their own business, which failed. And while she managed to go to college and finish a doctorate to get a good-paying job, she and her spouse, of similar socioeconomic status, were unable to co-sign when their oldest entered college due to still paying off their own college loans. This is barring any and all large medical bills as well, for them, kids, pets, or their aging parents, or paying to fix up their home. On paper, they should be making oodles of money, but since they started in such a massive deficit and life continues to happen, they are unable to become millionaires. Yup, and stories like this are much more common than the story of someone who became a millionaire just by putting money away. Then there's also the fact that people who get doctorates or other extra schooling, doctors, lawyers, miss out on all the early compound growth that gets retirement funds really going. That even when they are making lots more money, even after they're debt-free, they can be far behind a normal good earner when it comes to being able to retire. And even in STEM and the trades, you generally aren't making 100K right out of the gate. You have to build expertise. Yup, the only ones starting over 100K are at FAANG companies in HCOL areas, non-CS. Engineers in O&G can start at around 100K or more in Texas. And some parents, mine, would charge rent if I moved back in.